Dong Qing covered her swollen left cheek with her hands. She was so angry that her eyes were burning. She did not know why the situation had suddenly become like this. Why had the country bumpkin, who had been submissive all along, suddenly changed his attitude? The worst thing was that Manager Xia had actually spoken up for her. He had actually asked her to apologize to the country bumpkin. Manager Xia saw that there were more and more people around and said unhappily, "Dong Qing, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and apologize to Miss." Dong Qing had no choice but to swallow her anger and say, "Miss, this servant misspoke for a moment. Please forgive me. HMPH, I will be the Mo family's miss from now on. Even if Feng Hua sees me, she will still have to respectfully call me big sister. So you, as well as all of you, have to be more respectful in the future. Otherwise, I will find father to complain and kill all of you." Yun Chujio said arrogantly. Manager Xia immediately understood Yun Chujio's intention. Was this country bumpkin trying to establish his authority? He was really naive. "I will first trick you into entering the Mo residence. At that time, you will know what kind of status you have as the eldest miss." Just as Manager Xia was thinking about it, she heard Yun Chujio loudly shout, "Everyone, you may not know me. I am the eldest miss of the Mo residence. Speaking of which, my background is really a heartache that makes people cry. I don't know what kind of shameless person set me up since I was young, but I was reduced to a low-class continent when I was just born. Needless to say, I've suffered a lot. Fortunately, the bitterness finally came to an end. My father sent someone to bring me back. I heard that the Mo residence is one of the top families in Jinchuan City. Needless to say, my father is a vicious tiger that doesn't eat its own son. He probably treats me well. As for my father's step-in-law, he was probably very reasonable. He probably wouldn't poison me, disfigure me, or punish me by kneeling. However, this person's heart is filled with ulterior motives. If I don't come out in a few days, he'll be killed by someone. I don't expect you to avenge me. It's just that when the time comes, you'll see how pitiful I am and burn 2 pieces of paper money for me, you'll be satisfied." Yun Chujio's voice was quite loud at the beginning. Later on, as she spoke, she wiped her tears away. Her voice became choked with sobs, and some of the soft-hearted people couldn't help but sigh. TSK, I've long heard that the eldest daughter of the Mo family has gone missing. I didn't expect that she would really be found. Could I have mistaken her for someone else? I've seen the original Mrs. Yi once. This eldest daughter looks exactly like her mother. There's definitely no mistaking her. Besides, can the Mo residents randomly identify people? This young miss looks like she doesn't have much of a heart. I reckon that she won't have an easy life in the Mo residence. It can't be. I heard that Mrs. Luo is virtuous, she shouldn't be too harsh on this young miss. TSK, who knows? However, this young miss' spiritual power is also quite low. I reckon that her aptitude must be very poor. It's impossible for the Mo family head to dote on her too much. Young miss, it's getting late. Master and Madam are still waiting for you. Let's go quickly. Manager Xia did not expect the situation to go out of control in an instant. Yun Chujio spoke extremely fast and she did not have the time to interrupt, she was so angry that her head buzzed. She would definitely be scolded by Madam when she went back. Yun Chujio felt that the public opinion was more or less spread. After a few more whimpers, she said, "Manager Xia, I was really in a hurry when I came. I didn't bring any gifts for father, second aunt, younger brother and sister. This is really too impolite. Let's go and pick some gifts before returning to the manor." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Second aunt. Manager Xia staggered. This country bumpkin really dared to say that. The most taboo thing for the madam was these 3 words. This country bumpkin was always bringing up the wrong topic. Later, before entering the manor, she had to remind her again. Otherwise, the madam would definitely vent her anger on her. Eldest miss, there's no need to buy a gift. Let's hurry back to the manor. Manager Xia hurriedly said, afraid that Yun Chujio would cause any more trouble. Manager Xia, what you said is wrong. I came all the way here, how can I have 2 empty claws? Besides, how long can I waste to buy a gift? I've waited for 17 years, and I still need such a short time. Or are you sincere in wanting to make a fool of me? Yun Chujio said unhappily. Manager Xia wanted to sew up Yun Chujio's mouth and take her back to the MO residence. However, there were so many people watching in public, and there were forces fighting openly and secretly with the MO residents. It would be bad if the rumors were to spread. Manager Xia had no choice but to say, since the eldest miss insists on it, then well do as you say. There are all kinds of shops not far ahead. That's right. Let's go. It'll definitely help father and the others pick some good things. After saying that, Yun Chujio cheerfully hopped forward. Manager Xia gritted her teeth and motioned for everyone to follow. Dong Qing covered her cheeks and moved closer to Manager Xia. She lowered her voice and said, Manager Xia, are you going to let this country bumpkin be so arrogant? Manager Xia snorted coldly. When we get to the residence, there will naturally be people who will deal with her. That's right. She's a country bumpkin to begin with. Does she really think that she can become a phoenix just by flying on a branch? She's such a big girl, yet she's still jumping around. She really doesn't have any rules, Dong Qing said disdainfully. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. We don't want to be exposed, Manager Xia said coldly. Dong Qing didn't dare to say anything more. She retreated to the back, but in her heart, she hated Yun Chujio. Country bumpkin, just you wait. Not long after they walked out, Yun Chujio saw a silk store. She jumped in with a smile. Manager, bring out all the good clothes you have here. I want to choose a few good clothes for my father and the others. The shopkeeper of the satin shop had already heard the story from the people who were watching the show. Although he was not sure if Yun Chujio had money, he still said politely, I want to buy some clothes for my father and the others. Miss M.O., the clothes hanging here are all top-quality clothes. Not only are they very comfortable to wear, but they also have a certain degree of defensive function. They are also waterproof and fireproof. The styles are also the most popular. Yun Chujio nodded. You're right. I'm not short on money anyway. That, and that, wrap them all up for me. The shopkeeper saw that Yun Chujio had ordered a total of 20 sets of clothes in one go. He was so happy that he could not close his mouth. He immediately ordered the staff in the shop to wrap the clothes that Yun Chujio wanted. Manager Xia, who was standing at the side, couldn't help but twitch her lips. Did this country bumpkin think that the clothes in the immortal Yuan continent were the same price as those in the countryside? Let's see what happens if she can't pay the bill later. Miss M.O., a total of 3,083,200 upper-grade spirit stones. I'll give you a small change. You can just give me 3,080,000, the manager said ingratiatingly. Only 3,080,000. The clothes you have here are really good and cheap. Not bad, not bad. Thank you for your praise. You're welcome to come often in the future. Seeing Yun Chujio's words, the shopkeeper felt that although this miss was from a low-grade continent, she was still quite generous. Manager Xia, what are you waiting for? Pay up. Don't tell me you want me to pay up. Manager, ask her for money. I'll go to other shops. Yun Chujio put her clothes into her storage ring and hopped out. Manager Xia. The manager of the satin shop. The onlookers. Oh my God! There was such a shameless person in this world. You gave a gift to others, but you didn't pay for it yourself. What kind of gift was this? The manager of the satin shop was the first to wake up. He was afraid that Manager Xia would run away, so he blocked the door and said, "Manager Xia, the eldest daughter of the Mo family said that you should pay for it. In that case, please go ahead." Manager Xia's heart was like a dog that was bickering. However, under the watchful eyes of everyone, she couldn't go back on her word. Thus, she could only use her savings to pay the bill. Manager Xia had just finished paying the bill with her heart aching. She saw a fatty running over hurriedly. "Manager Xia, the eldest daughter of the Mo family has just bought 10 sets of jewelry in our jewelry shop. A total of 5 million high-grade spirit stones. Eldest daughter of the Mo family said that she is looking for you to take the money." Manager Xia's head buzzed. The 3,080,000 spirit stones just now had already been the majority of her savings. How could she still have 5 million to pay the bill? However, she couldn't possibly not pay the bill. Manager Xia gritted her teeth and could only say, "Manager, I'll give you my identity jade token. Wait until I return to the Mo residence to take the money, then I'll redeem my identity jade token." The chubby manager's small eyes rolled around. Since the Mo residence was so big, it wouldn't go back on its word. Thus, he smiled and said, "Since you have Manager Xia's token, it's naturally fine. Then, I'll wait for you to redeem it with spirit stones." Just as the chubby manager finished speaking, another old man ran over. Manager Xia, the eldest miss of your Mo residence just bought 15 high-grade spirit tools and 1 low-grade immortal tool from our equipment store. It's a total of 8 million high-grade spirit stones. Eldest Miss Mo said she's looking for you to collect the money." Just as the old man finished speaking, another middle-aged woman ran over. Manager Xia, the eldest daughter of your Mo residence just bought 200 talismans from our grocery store. It's a total of 5 million high-grade spirit stones. Eldest daughter Mo said that she's looking for you to take the money. Manager Xia almost collapsed to the ground. She couldn't be bothered with these people. She shouted at the secret guards, "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and get that dirt back, eldest daughter." Manager Xia felt that if this continued, this country bumpkin would destroy all of Mo Mansion's assets. "Manager Xia, you're looking for me? Perfect, I just bought a bunch of food and haven't paid for it yet. You can pay for it too." Yun Chuzhou held a spirit fruit in her hand and munched happily. Manager Xia was so angry that she almost passed out. It took her a long time to recover. She squeezed out a few words from between her teeth. "Miss, if you want to give gifts to the masters, 1 or 2 will be enough. Please return the extra items." Yun Chuzhou said unhappily, "Manager Xia, what are you talking about? The more gifts you give, the better. Only then can it represent my sincerity. Moreover, this sum is only about 20 million. I have already saved so much that I cannot save any more. Our Mo residence is a big business, how can we still lack the spiritual stones that I spent?" Manager Xia was so angry that she was trembling. "You really dare to say that? Just around 20 million? No matter how rich the Mo residence was, they wouldn't spend it in such a manner. Moreover, what right did a country bumpkin like you have to spend so much money?" This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Eldest Miss, although your intentions are good, our Mo residence has always been thrifty. It's not good for you to spend so much. It's better to return some of it. Manager Xia could not care less about losing face. In short, she had to return the item first. Otherwise, Mrs. Luo would skin her alive if she returned. Once the goods are sold, there is no reason to return them. Don't you agree? Yun Chuzhou turned around and asked the few shopkeepers. The few shopkeepers would not be able to meet such a big customer in a year. Naturally, they were not willing to let such a big customer go. All of them agreed, that's right. If this thing is sold, how can it be returned? If it's like this, we don't have to do this business anymore. Manager Xia, your MO residence is so big and rich, yet you still lack so little money? Could it really be like what Miss Mo said, when you brought her back, you were torturing her? Manager Xia was ridiculed by everyone until her face turned red and her ears turned red. She weighed the pros and cons in her heart. She gritted her teeth. All right, since Miss Mo has already bought the thing, our Mo residence will naturally not default on the debt. After I return to the Mo residence, I will definitely send someone over to deliver the money to everyone. Yun Chujio said leisurely from the side. Manager Xia, there's no proof of that. What if you're cheating? You'd better give them an IOU. Manager Xia was so angry that she was twitching. She gave them an IOU. Did she buy the items? Why did she have to give them an IOU? Those shopkeepers did not care whether the items were bought by Yun Chujio or not. As long as someone gave them an IOU, it would be fine. Moreover, in their opinion, Manager Xia was more secure than Yun Chujio, the eldest miss of the Mo family who had just arrived. Manager Xia had no choice but to grit her teeth and write an IOU for everyone. Manager Xia, and this snack shop, I owe 50,000 high-grade spirit stones. This is a small business, so don't write an IOU, just pay. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Manager Xia was so angry that she almost fainted. What? Buying a snack can cost 50,000 high-grade spirit stones. Did you just round up the things in the shop? Manager Xia gritted her teeth and paid the 50,000 spirit stones. With a stiff face, she said to Yun Chujio, Miss, can we go back to the mansion this time? Yun Chujio nodded with a smile. Wait a little longer. I just ordered 10 tables of good banquet at Ji Qing restaurant. It should be ready soon. Manager Xia staggered and almost collapsed on the ground. He almost shouted, Miss. Why did you order the banquet? Yun Chujio looked at her as if she was an idiot. Aren't you asking nonsense? You went through a lot of trouble to get me back. Doesn't my father have to celebrate? If I ordered the banquet tables, father would have saved a lot of trouble. Then there's no need to book 10 tables. With such a big happy event, won't my father celebrate with the whole family? Some of his family and friends will naturally be invited to celebrate as well. If it weren't for the fact that Ji Qing restaurant doesn't have so many good ingredients, I would have booked 20 tables. Manager Xia's head buzzed. Good ingredients? A good banquet at Ji Qing restaurant would cost at least tens of thousands of high-grade spirit stones. If a country bumpkin ordered 10 tables at once, wouldn't that be hundreds of thousands? Just as Manager Xia was thinking. She saw the manager of Ji Qing restaurant running over while panting. Miss Mo. This banquet will take a while to be ready. I'll send it to your residence later. These 10 tables will cost a total of 300,000 high-grade spirit stones. Look, this money. Yun Chujio pouted. Manager Xia is rich. You can ask her for it. Manager Xia's heart was like 100 divine beasts whizzing past her. She had money. Her coffin was already paying for this bumpkin. What money did she have? Manager Xia had no choice but to scrape together 300,000 high-grade spirit stones to give to the manager of Ji Qing restaurant. Miss, can we leave this time? Manager Xia was afraid that another person would pop out to ask for money. This bumpkin was not an ordinary person who could squander. Yun Chujio nodded. Originally, I wanted to visit other shops, but I was afraid that father and second aunt would wait for a long time. Let's call it a day. It'll come out again in a few days. Shopkeepers, we'll see each other later. In the eyes of those shopkeepers, Yun Chujio was a child of wealth. She was the glittering grandmother of the god of wealth. Each and every one of them said with incomparable sincerity, "Miss Mo, the door of our satin shop is always open to you. Miss Mo, our jewelry shop sincerely welcomes you to come often. Miss Mo, our equipment shop is waiting for you to come again. Miss Mo, our grocery shop is waiting for you to come at any time. Miss Mo, our snack shop will immediately stock up and strive to let you buy as much as you like next time." The shopkeeper of Jiqing restaurant was not willing to be outdone, his old face was smiling like a flower. "Miss Mo, our restaurant is dedicated to serving you. We not only provide the canteen food, but also delivery service. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner can all be delivered to your door." I wonder, Yun Chujia's eyes immediately lit up. "Io, your service is very good. Give me the menu, I'll reserve it for 3 months first." Manager Xia wished he could shut Yun Chujia's mouth. He gritted his teeth and said, "Miss, our house has a big kitchen, there's no need for Ji Qingtang to deliver the food." Yun Chujio pursed her lips. "Manager, you heard it too. It's not that I'm uncertain, it's just that Manager Xia is afraid of spending money. Sigh, I can't help it, who asked me to come back halfway? If Sister Fanghua wanted to eat it, she would definitely allow it. A child without a mother is like grass, sigh. Little cabbage, yellow in the ground." As Yun Chujio spoke, she started singing. That mournful tone and sorrowful lyrics instantly made many people's noses feel a little sour. Yun Chujio dropped 2 drops of crocodile tears and wiped them with her sleeve. She pretended to be strong and said, "Sigh, no matter what, life has to go on. I just came back and spent so much money. Do you think I'm a fool? Actually, I just wanted to send something to my second aunt and my younger brothers and sisters. Otherwise, how would I be able to survive in the Mo residence? I didn't expect that in the end, I couldn't even order my own favorite food. Forget it, it's my fault for not being favored. I'd better not return to the Mo residence, I'll just wait and see." After saying that, Yun Chujio covered her face and rushed out of the crowd, looking extremely heartbroken. The crowd couldn't help but point at Manager Xia. This Manager Xia is really something, he actually made Miss Mo cry. Exactly, who doesn't know that the Mo family is rich? Miss Mo won't even let us order food. I think that Miss Mo's life in the Mo family isn't easy. That's right, Manager Xia is just a servant, yet she dares to speak to Miss Mo like this. It shows how low Miss Mo's status is. Manager Xia was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. She wished that she could sew these gossipy mouths shut. However, the law did not punish the masses, not to mention that there were some here that she could not afford to offend. She could only turn angry from embarrassment and say to her subordinates, "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and chase Miss Mo back." Yun Chujio naturally wouldn't really run far away. She was just putting on an act. Life was like a play, it all depended on acting. Up until now, this fellow was still very satisfied with her performance. This torment was simply like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Firstly, it made the Mo residence's heart ache. Moreover, her small warehouse had suddenly become much more abundant. Second, now that everyone in Jinchuan City knew that the eldest daughter of the Mo family had returned, if the Mo family wanted to kill her quietly, they would have to think twice. Third, they could also use this to test the bottom line of the Mo family head and Mrs. Luo. Fourth, this person had preconceived ideas. Now, everyone in Jinchuan City thought that not only was the eldest daughter of the Mo family pitiful, but she was also not favored. Even if she did something out of the ordinary in the future, these people would not think that she was the one who was at fault. If she bought things herself, others would pay the bill, but she could also win the sympathy of others. This was simply a must-have move for a White Lotus. When it came to this fellow, it was a must-have move for a Black Lotus. After Yun Chujio activated the Black Lotus skill, she felt refreshed. Therefore, she did not continue to torment Manager Xia, but followed Manager Xia and the others to the Mo residence. Compared to Yun Chujio, who felt refreshed, Manager Xia was suffering in her heart. This country bumpkin had spent more than 20 million high-grade spirit stones. How was she going to explain this to her wife? Finally, everyone came to the entrance of a tall mansion. The words Mo residence were written on it. Yun Chujio saw that the main door of the Mo residence was not opened. It was only a small side door. She could not help but complain in her heart. How could she use such a cliché trick? If you have the ability, you can make a dog hole for me to crawl through. Eldest miss, please. Manager Xia hated Yun Chujio to death right now and could not wait for her to make a fool of herself. The main door is not open, how can I enter? Do you think I have wings? Yun Chujio said faintly. Eldest miss, although the main door is not open, this side door is open. This main door will only be opened when an honorable person arrives or when there is a joyous occasion, so let's go in through the side door, Manager Xia said with a fake smile. You, a country bumpkin, really take yourself seriously? Manager Xia felt that Yun Chujio must be ashamed after hearing her words, so she compromised and went in through the side door with her. However, she obviously didn't know that there was a kind of person who didn't follow common sense in this world. Yun Chujio glanced at her, she curled her lips and said, Manager Xia, are you mocking me for not being a proper master? I am the dignified eldest daughter of the Mo family. Could it be that the master of the Mo family is a worthless slut? So they are not worthy of entering through the main door. Cold sweat broke out on Manager Xia's forehead. She hurriedly explained, no, I didn't mean that. The masters are naturally all honorable, since they are all honorable, why don't you open the main door? Do you think that I, the eldest daughter, am the only one who is not honorable? Manager Xia was at a loss because of Yun Chujio's aggressive question. However, the madam had given a strict order that this country bumpkin must enter through the side door. What should she do? Dong Qing hated Yun Chujio to death. She felt that it was her chance to take revenge, so she came over and said, Manager Xia, have you forgotten? Wasn't there a problem with the lock on the main door a few days ago? That's why the main door can't be used now. Manager Xia was worried that he wouldn't have an excuse. Hearing Dong Qing's words, he couldn't help but look at her with admiration. Then, he said helplessly, Miss, did you hear that? The lock on the main door is broken, so we can only use the side door. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Is this gate really broken? Missy, it's absolutely true. This gate is really broken. Manager Xia said with certainty. Could it be that you can find someone to verify it? Moreover, even if you were to find someone, would there still be anyone who would speak up for you? At this moment, a lot of onlookers had gathered outside the Mo residence. It was human nature to like to join in the fun, so there would be onlookers everywhere. The onlookers were well aware of the situation. It seemed that the Mo residents wanted to give Miss Mo a show of force. Once they entered through the side door, Miss Mo's life in the Mo residence would be terrible in the future. What Miss Mo said is true. The Mo residence really doesn't like her. TSK, is there a need to say that? Miss Mo's mother, Madame Yun, has long died. Now that Madame Luo is the second aunt, she naturally doesn't like Miss Mo. According to what you said, Lady Mo is the daughter of the first wife. Doesn't that mean that second Lady Mo is the daughter of a concubine? That's right, this Lady Mo is the real daughter of the first wife. Therefore, when she returns, second Lady Mo will definitely be unhappy and will naturally make things difficult for her. However, this Lady Mo is alone and her spiritual power is still so low. She can only enter through the side door unless she doesn't want to acknowledge her ancestors. While everyone was whispering, they heard Yun Chujio raise her voice and said, Manager Xia, let me ask you again. Is this gate really broken? Manager Xia snorted. She said impatiently, "Miss, this gate is really broken. It's impossible to open it. Let's hurry and enter through the side door. The master, madam, and all the young masters are still waiting." Yun Chujiu ignored her. Instead, she said to the onlookers, "Please bear witness for me. Manager Xia just said that this gate is completely broken. Did you all hear that?" The onlookers were never afraid of big things. They clamored, "Miss Mo, we all heard it with absolute certainty." "Yes, Manager Xia said it several times just now. This gate of the Mo residence is indeed broken." Both Manager Xia and the onlookers were puzzled. What did Miss Mo mean by emphasizing that the gate was broken? Could it be that she was looking for a way out? Could it be that it was not because she was not of noble status but because the gate was broken? Just as everyone was puzzled, they saw Yun Chujiu smiling brightly at Manager Xia. Manager Xia had an ominous feeling in her heart. Previously, after this country bumpkin smiled at Dong Qing, he had given Dong Qing a slap. Could it be that he wanted to give her a slap this time? Thinking of this, Manager Xia subconsciously took a few steps back, afraid that Yun Chujiu would fly into a rage. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujiu took out a stack of talismans from her storage ring. "Manager Xia, since this door is broken, then destroy it. If the old won't go and the new won't come, then let's make some noise and liven things up." As Yun Chujiu said that, she threw the stack of talismans towards the Mo residence's main door. Boom! 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 The loud explosion made people's ears ring. Yun Chujiu threw a stack of talismans that suddenly cracked. Not to mention the Mo residence's main door, even the surrounding walls were blasted into ruins. Everyone was stunned. Blowing up the main door at the slightest disagreement. The person invited back by the Mo residence was not just a country bumpkin, he was a freaking jinx. Manager Xia was scared silly. Her mind was completely blank. She could not understand why the main gate had been blown up when they were clearly discussing whether they should take the side or the main gate. Yun Chujiu giggled. "Manager Xia, I used quite a few talismans in this explosion. However, since it was for the sake of our Mo residence, so be it. I won't ask father for money anymore." Manager Xia felt that she might not live past today. A family's front door had been blown up by someone. It was simply a laughing stock. Most importantly, it was blown up by her own daughter. This was simply a miracle. Why did you blow up the door? The master and madam will not forgive you." Manager Xia did not care about honorifics anymore and directly questioned her angrily. Yun Chujiu had a puzzled expression. Manager Xia, you won't have any friends doing things like this. Didn't you say that the door was completely broken? Since it was completely broken, why didn't you replace it and keep it for the new year? I'm a warm-hearted person, so I helped you blow up the door. You don't appreciate my kindness and still dare to question me? How can you be so thick-skinned? Yun Chujiu turned around and asked the onlookers, "Everyone, please give us an explanation. Did she say that the door was broken? I even asked her twice." The onlookers came back to their senses, their eyes shining with a strong light of gossip. They didn't know whether this Miss Mo was stupid or bold enough to blow up the mansion with just a word of disagreement. It was really exciting. It was really too exciting. Yes. Miss Mo is right. Manager Xia was the one who said that the door was completely broken. I can also prove that she was indeed the one who said it. Miss Mo did a great job. Anyway, the door is broken. It would save us the trouble of blowing it up. Only then did Manager Xia understand why Yun Chujiu had repeatedly asked her if the door was broken. It turned out that it was all premeditated. Could it be that this country bumpkin actually had such deep thoughts? Manager Xia shook her head again. It couldn't be. How could a little girl from a lower continent have such meticulous thoughts? She was just a fool who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Manager Xia, didn't you say that father and second aunt were waiting for me? Why are you still standing there? Let's go in now. TSK, if it were up to me, this door should have been blown up a long time ago. Look at how wide the view is. It's really relaxing. Relaxing, my ass. Manager Xia was about to vomit blood from anger. Initially, she wanted to remind Yunchujio not to address Mrs. Luo as second aunt. Now, she felt that it was better to let her directly anger Mrs. Luo. It was just the right time to teach her a lesson. This country bumpkin was really too arrogant. Manager Xia thought of this and said coldly, "All right, please follow me, miss." Yunchujio waved her hand at the onlookers. "Everyone, I'm going in now. If my father really wants to ask about the door, you have to testify for me. Miss Mo, don't worry, we will tell the truth." "Yes, Miss Mo, it can't be true, it can't be true." Manager Xia said that the gate was broken, we heard it. "Miss Mo, don't worry. We have nothing to do, we will wait at the gate. If you need us to testify, just let us know." The onlookers wanted to follow Yunchujio in to watch the show. This Miss Mo was so fierce, so it would be more exciting later. Unfortunately, they couldn't go in, but fortunately, the door was blown up, they could still hear some noise. Manager Xia was even more vexed when she saw these onlookers. She said to them, "It's forbidden to gather outside the Mo residence. All of you, disperse." Someone sneered, "Manager Xia, it's forbidden to gather outside the Mo residence. It's a pity that your Mo residence doesn't have a door anymore. What's stopping you from chatting on the street?" "That's right. Although your Mo residence is powerful, you can't stop us from basking in the sun on the street, right? This Mo residence is really overbearing. Why didn't Miss Mo blow up the entire Mo residence?" Manager Xia saw that the few people who were talking were from other powerful forces, so she could only suppress her anger and walk in. Yunchujio followed behind her, looking around and strolling slowly. Although Manager Xia was furious, she was afraid that Yunchujio would be foolish enough to come up again, so she didn't dare to urge her. At that moment, the masters in the Mo residence were also shocked by the loud noise. Manager Xia said it nicely. She said that Mo Cheng, the head of the Mo family, and Luo Shi were waiting for Yunchujio at home. In fact, no one treated Yunchujio as a person. They were all busy with their own matters. When everyone heard the noise, they came to the living room to ask what had happened. Mo Cheng furrowed his brows tightly, his heart was filled with uncertainty. Could it be that someone had come to provoke him? Such a huge noise, could it be that a talisman had been used? Very quickly, a guard came to report. That guard's expression was stiff as he said, reporting to family head, "The noise just now was, Mo Cheng snorted coldly, "What was it? Speak quickly. You can't even speak clearly. What a waste." The guard could only grit his teeth and say, "It was the eldest miss who used the talisman to blow up the mansion." What the hell? Mo Cheng thought there was something wrong with his ears and raised his voice. "Who do you think used the talisman to blow up the mansion?" "Yes, it was the eldest miss. It was the eldest miss that Manager Xia brought back." Mo Cheng took quite a while to digest this information, then, he slapped the coffee table and said, "How outrageous. Is this unfilial daughter trying to rebel? She just came back and actually blew up the mansion. Won't she blow up our Mo residence in a few days?" A beautiful middle-aged woman sat beside Mo Cheng. It was Mrs. Luo. She said gently, "Master, don't be angry. There might be some hidden reason behind this. Besides, Fengchao has always lived in a low-level continent. It's understandable that she's reckless." "Humph. No matter how reckless she is, she won't blow up her own family's mansion as soon as she comes back. I don't think she's reckless. She's deliberately showing off. Not only did Mo Cheng not calm down after hearing Madame Luo's words, he was even angrier. Madame Luo saw that Mo Cheng's expression was even more unsightly, and a trace of pride flashed in her eyes. This Mo Fangchao was really an idiot. She did such a stupid thing as soon as she came back. At first, she thought that she would bring some trouble. But now, it seemed that there was nothing to be afraid of. At this moment, a maid came in and reported, "Master, Madam, Manager Xia requests to see you." Manager Xia had a very good plan in mind. She wanted to first go in and report the matter of Yun Chuzhou squandering more than 20 million spirit stones, and then let Yun Chuzhou go in. Unexpectedly, Mo Cheng was in a fit of anger. He angrily said, "Let that rebellious girl come in together." After the maid went out to speak, Manager Xia had no choice but to bring Yun Chuzhou into the living room. The moment Yun Chuzhou entered, several pairs of eyes fell on her. After seeing Yun Chuzhou's appearance, Mo Cheng's expression became even gloomier. He suddenly slapped the coffee table. "Unfilial daughter! You blew up the manor as soon as you came back. How dare you? Men! Lock this unfilial daughter into the woodshed. No one is allowed to bring food to her without my orders." Yun Chuzhou still had a little bit of hope in her heart. Perhaps her biological father was forced to do so, or perhaps he really did not find her whereabouts. That was why he did not find her after so many years. However, when she heard Mo Cheng say this, the little bit of hope in Yun Chuzhou's heart about her father's love was completely destroyed. Her lowered eyes were filled with coldness. When Yun Chuzhou raised her head again, tears fell down. "Father, I didn't expect that the first thing you said to me was to scold me and lock me in the woodshed. If that's the case, why did you look for me to come back?" There was no trace of pity on Mo Cheng's face. Instead, he said with a bit of disgust, "Why did I look for you? Do you think I wanted to look for you to come back? A rebellious daughter like you shouldn't have come back." Mrs. Luo tugged at Mo Cheng's sleeve. She said gently, "Fangchao, your father is in a fit of anger, so his words are inevitably a bit extreme. However, why did you blow up the manor gate all of a sudden? Could it be that you resent me and master for not finding you in time?" Yun Chuzhou sneered repeatedly in her heart. What an old white lotus. This skill was much stronger than Lon Luchen's mother. It was not an easy character to deal with. "Second aunt, you don't know. Manager Xia said that the main door was broken and insisted that I enter through the side door. I asked her again and again, but she insisted that the main door was broken. I thought, since the main door was broken, then I should blow it up and replace it with a new one. So I used a talisman to blow up the main door. Did I do something wrong? This wasted a lot of my talismans. I was originally poor. Now am even poorer." Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and said with an aggrieved look. Madame Luo's expression immediately darkened when she heard Yun Chuzhou call her second aunt, but she quickly returned to normal. When Mo Cheng heard Yun Chuzhou say this, he was so angry that he fiercely slapped the coffee table again. "Nonsense! I told you to come in through the side door, then come in through the side door. Does the main door need you to act recklessly if it's not bad? Father, what you said is wrong. Manager Xia said that only lowly people can come in through the side door. I'm your daughter. If I'm a slut, then aren't you an old slut?" Yun Chuzhou said angrily. "Impudent! You unfilial daughter! Men! Tie her up. Lock her in the woodshed immediately." Mo Cheng was so angry that his face was livid and his hands were trembling. The pink-dressed girl sitting at the lower seat could not help but gloat. This country bumpkin was really a fool. He actually dared to call her father an old slut. There must be something wrong with her brain. When the pink-dressed girl thought of this, she whispered to a red-dressed girl beside her, trying to please her, "Sister, this country bumpkin is really stupid. The red-dressed girl's expression was arrogant, but she just curled her lips and did not say anything. The pink-dressed girl could only shut her mouth embarrassedly and curse in her heart. HMH, what's so great about being arrogant? Now that the country bumpkin has come, you are the second miss. If we were to talk about it, the country bumpkin is the legitimate daughter. You are a concubine's daughter like me, what's there to be proud of? After hearing Mo Chang's words, two old women walked in from outside, wanting to kidnap Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio said in puzzlement, Father, I'm stating the truth. Why are you so angry? Alright, I can see that you don't care about me at all. You don't have to lock me up in the woodshed. I heard that my mother has already died and I can't return to the Tianyuan continent. Since that's the case, there's no point for me to live anymore. I might as well just die. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. After saying that, Yun Chujio rushed out of the room. No one expected her to do something like that. They were not prepared at all. The two old ladies looked confused. What happened? Yun Chujio ran outside and shouted, I'm not going to live. I'm not going to live. I'm not going to live. As soon as I came back, my father locked me in the woodshed and starved me to death. I'm going to find a crooked tree and hang myself to death. Once I'm dead, he'll be able to see my mother. Mo Cheng smashed the coffee table with one palm. What are you guys standing there for? Hurry up and bring that unfilial daughter back to me. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. When that old woman heard Mo Cheng's words, she quickly chased after him. Although they were rough women, their spiritual power was only at the 5th level of the spiritual venerable realm. They did not put Yun Chujio, who was at the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm, in their eyes at all. However, the two old women couldn't catch up with Yun Chujio. They just watched Yun Chujio rush out of the main gate. Well, the main gate was already gone. In short, she rushed out of the mansion. The onlookers were all waiting anxiously. Seeing Yun Chujio run out crying and howling, the flames of gossip immediately burned fiercely again. Miss Mo, don't cry. What happened? Yun Chujio was crying her heart out, she was heartbroken. Sob, everyone, I shouldn't have returned to the Mo residence. When my father saw me, not only did he not ask me if I had been wrong for the past 17 years, he even scolded me. He said that I was an unfilial daughter and that I shouldn't have been brought back. I felt that he was angry because I blew up the residence, so I explained it in detail. I didn't expect him to actually say that I was only fit to enter the residence through the side door. He even tied me up and locked me in the woodshed to starve me to death. I originally thought that this was my home, but now that I looked at this place, it was clearly a den of dragons and tigers. It was a place where people were eaten. I can't go back to the Tianyuan continent now, and my mother is dead. What's the point of me living? So I'm going to find a crooked tree and hang myself on it. That tree is not bad. I'll hang myself on that tree. This way, my ghost will be able to return to the mansion from time to time. After all, this is also my home, sob. As Yun Chujio spoke, she ran towards a crooked tree. As she cried, she took out a rope and hung it on the tree branch. She looked like she was going to hang herself. Of course, the bystanders could not just sit by and do nothing. One after another, they tried to persuade her, Miss Mo, there must be a way to resolve this matter. You can't be rash. Miss Mo, if there's something to discuss, we can discuss it. Master Mo might be speaking out of anger. Even a tiger would not eat its own child. He can't really starve you to death. Miss Mo, a person's life only comes once. You have to cherish it. Yun Chujio seemed to be moved by the crowd's persuasion, so she was a little hesitant. When the onlookers saw this, they immediately began to persuade her with more sincerity. Although the two women from the Mo residence had the intention to capture Yun Chuzhou back, they didn't dare to act rashly because there were so many people outside. Thus, one of the women quickly returned to the living room. "Master, madam, the eldest miss is preparing to hang herself outside the residence. There are many people outside watching the commotion. This old servant does not dare to make a decision." The old lady explained the situation outside to Mo Cheng. Mo Cheng stood up in anger. "This unfilial daughter. She really pisses me off. Such an unfilial daughter should be killed with a sword to prevent her from causing trouble again." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Madame Luo rebuked, "Master, you are always so impatient. Fang Chao is not sensible, just teach her slowly. We have gone through so much to bring her back, we cannot let her die just like that." Hearing Madame Luo's words, Mo Cheng remembered the purpose of bringing Yun Chuzhou back. His expression softened a little. "Xiao Yun, what you said makes sense. It's just that this unfilial daughter really doesn't have any rules. Forget it, it's better to be out of sight than out of mind. I'll leave this unfilial daughter to you to deal with." After saying that, Mo Cheng flung his sleeves and returned to the study room. A smug look flashed across Madame Luo's eyes. It seemed that her husband did not have any feelings for this Fang Chao as a father and daughter. However, this country bumpkin still had a great use for her. He could not let her die just like that. He still had to coax her back first. When Madame Luo thought of this, she said to the two girls, "Fang Hua, Fan Qin, follow me and persuade your elder sister to come back." The red-clothed girl was Madame Luo's biological daughter, Mo Fanghua. When she heard Madame Luo say this, she could not help but frown. "Mother, you can go by yourself. I'm going back to cultivate." After saying this, Mo Fanghua did not care whether Madame Luo agreed or not and directly left. Madame Luo rebuked, "This girl only knows how to cultivate all day long. Mother, elder sister has always been diligent and hardworking. I'm really much worse than elder sister. Not only is Tianzi inferior to elder sister, but she's also always slacking off. Serves me right for not being able to increase my spiritual power." The pink-clothed girl Mo Fangqin said in a flattering manner. Madame Luo glanced at her. "Your spiritual power level is considered not bad. You've seen it too. That Fang Ko's spiritual power is only at the second level of the Supreme Spirit realm. In the future, you must also frequently urge her to cultivate." "Yes, I will listen to your arrangements. In the future, I will visit her courtyard often." Although Mo Fangkin's spiritual power level was not as high as Mo Fanghua's, her mind was very active. She understood that Madame Luo was asking her to monitor Yun Chuzhou. Madame Luo nodded in satisfaction. "Let's go. Follow me to persuade Fang Chao to come back." Mo Fangqin heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. She thought to herself that after this idiot Mo Fangqin came back, she would probably have a better life. All she needed to do was to draw Madame Luo's attention to that idiot. When Madame Luo and Mo Fangqin arrived outside the residence, the onlookers were trying their best to persuade Yun Chuzhou. "Fangqin. What are you doing?" Madame Luo's face was full of worry. Yun Chuzhou wiped her tears. "I am not going back. Father said that he would lock me in the woodshed and starve me to death. Your father's words were just out of anger. The moment you came back, he blew up the residence, so your father's words were a little impatient. I've already persuaded your father just now. The matter of you blowing up the residence is over. Hurry up and follow me in. You've traveled a long way. You should also have a good rest." Madame Luo's tone softened, she spoke with a motherly manner. Yun Chuzhou shook her head. "You're lying. Father won't forgive me at all. Father's appearance is so scary. It's as if he wants to kill me." You child, a tiger won't eat its own son. How could your father want to kill you? Besides, you've suffered so much before. Even if you did something else, your father and I won't blame you, let alone blowing up the mansion, Madame Luo said hypocritically. Her words were naturally meant for the onlookers, in order to gain a good reputation. Hearing Yun Chujia's words, a faint light flashed in Yun Chujia's eyes. She said aggrievedly, "Second aunt, is what you said true? No matter what I did, you and my father won't blame me." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Madame Luo felt that although this country bumpkin had blown up the mansion, he would be right under her nose in the future. Naturally, he wouldn't be able to cause any more trouble. Thus, Madame Luo said with a loving expression, "You child, no matter what you've done, your father and I will naturally not blame you." Manager Xia's heart skipped a beat. She did not have the time to report to Madame Luo that Yun Chujio had harmed more than 20 million high-grade spirit stones. If Madame Luo found out later, she would probably explode in anger. Thinking of this, Manager Xia moved to Madame Luo's side and whispered, "Madam, this servant has something to report to you. We'll talk when we return to the manor. Can't you see that I'm busy?" Madame Luo frowned. This Manager Xia usually handled matters very well. Why did she have to handle the wrong things one after another today? Was there anything more important than persuading this country bumpkin to return to the manor? Manager Xia didn't dare to say anything more, but the sweat on her forehead started to appear, and her heart was in turmoil. Her heart was in turmoil, but Yun Chujia's heart was bursting with joy, but her face had a timid expression. "Second aunt, is what you said true? No matter what happens, you and father won't be angry? You won't punish me?" Although Mrs. Luo was impatient in her heart, she still had a loving expression on her face. "Of course it's true. We won't scold you no matter what happens. Hurry up and follow me back to the residence." When Yun Chujio heard what Mrs. Luo said, she quickly took the rope from the tree branch and put it into her storage ring. She jumped in front of Mrs. Luo and said, "Second aunt, I'm relieved with your words." Yun Chujio said to the onlookers, "Everyone, did you hear what second aunt said? If you don't see me coming out these few days, I'm afraid that I'll either be put under house arrest or killed. You have to uphold justice for me." The onlookers shouted one after another, "Miss Mo, don't worry. We're all listening. Madame Luo promised not to punish you. If she doesn't keep her word, well, make the matter public. That's right, even a vicious tiger won't eat its own child. If family head Mo really killed Miss Mo, well, definitely let him suffer the condemnation of public opinion. Miss Mo, if you're really killed, well, come and pay our respects to you on our own accord." Madame Luo finally managed to suppress the anger in her heart with much difficulty. Were these people full of themselves? Also, it was really strange. This country bumpkin had only just arrived in Jinchuan City. Why did these people seem to be very familiar with her? Just as Mrs. Luo was puzzled, she saw the manager of Jiqing restaurant running over while panting. Miss Mo, I've brought the banquet you ordered." Yun Chujio nodded with a smile. "You've come at the right time. It's about time for dinner." Mrs. Luo was confused. A country bumpkin ordered a banquet? What kind of banquet did she order? However, Mrs. Luo didn't ask too much because of her status. The manager of Ji Qin restaurant handed Yun Chujio a storage ring and said in a flattering manner, "Miss Mo, this is a 10-table banquet. I'll give you this storage ring and the food box inside. 10 good banquet tables." Madame Luo was even more confused. Why did this country bumpkin order so many tables for a banquet? Moreover, a good banquet table in Ji Qin restaurant cost tens of thousands of high-grade spirit stones, and these 10 tables cost hundreds of thousands of high-grade spirit stones. Was this country bumpkin so rich? Just as Madame Luo was feeling puzzled, 3 more people ran over. Madame Luo took a look and saw that she recognized all 3 of them. They were the shopkeepers of the jewelry shop, the equipment shop, and the grocery shop. Madame Luo was very puzzled. What were these 3 people doing here? After the 3 shopkeepers bowed to Madame Luo, they respectfully bowed to Yun Chuzhou. Then, they said to Manager Xia, there's no need to trouble you to send US spirit stones. Since Madame Luo is also here, you can settle the debt with us. Manager Xia's clothes were soaked in cold sweat, and her legs were a little weak. But now that she was forced into this situation, she could only bite the bullet and say, Madam, this, when the eldest miss entered the city, she said that she wanted to buy some things for you and the master. These 3 shopkeepers are here to settle the debt. Madame Luo was stunned. This country bumpkin actually knew how to give gifts to please us. However, why did you ask Manager Xia for money for a gift? Although Madame Luo was puzzled in her heart, she still said lovingly, You child, really? What gift? As long as you come back, it's better than anything else. I reckon that you also don't have any money on you. Since you've already bought it, it'll help you pay for it. How much does the herb owe you? Madame Luo felt that it was at most a few tens of thousands of spirit stones. Even a country bumpkin probably wouldn't dare to buy anything expensive. Madame Luo, Miss Mo owes our jewelry store 5 million high-grade spirit stones. Madame Luo, Miss Mo owes our jewelry store 8 million high-grade spirit stones. Madame Luo, Miss Mo owes our grocery store 5 million high-grade spirit stones. Madame Luo thought she had misheard. How much did you say? 5 million? 8 million? 5 million? Are you sure you didn't say an extra 100 words? Yun Chuzhou said smilingly from the side, Second aunt, you didn't mishear, a total of 18 million. Do you think I'm being too thrifty? I feel that although our Mo residence has a big business, we still have to be thrifty. That's why I didn't buy anything too expensive. Madame Luo felt that her brain wasn't enough. This country bumpkin spent 18 million yuan on a gift. How was this possible? Was Manager Xia a dead person? Just let her do whatever she wanted. Manager Xia was about to faint when she saw Madame Luo looking at her. She could only bite the bullet and say, Madam, they are telling the truth. Not only did the eldest miss buy these 18 million items, but this servant also helped her pay 3,430,000 high-grade spirit stones. Those spirit stones were used by the eldest miss to buy clothes, snacks, and the 10 tables of the banquet at Ji Qing restaurant. Madame Luo almost fainted from anger. The total cost was more than 20 million. This country bumpkin had spent so many spirit stones the moment he arrived. Second aunt, why aren't you saying anything? Are you blaming me for buying a gift? Didn't you say that you wouldn't blame me no matter what I do? Yun Chuzhou asked timidly as she tugged at the corner of her clothes. Although Madame Luo wished that Yun Chuzhou would return all the items, she couldn't afford to embarrass that person in public. She gritted her teeth and passed the spiritual stones to the 3 shopkeepers. Yun Chuzhou immediately beamed with joy. Second aunt, you really mean what you say. Don't worry, these things of mine are all used as gifts for you. You will definitely be very happy when you receive them. Happy? Madame Luo was crying so hard that she felt like crying. It would be a miracle if she could be happy. However, this country bumpkin could still recoup most of the losses by sending the things he bought as a gift. Madame Luo felt a little better after thinking about it. Madame Luo tried her best to suppress her anger and said with a slightly stiff expression, Fang Chao, it's getting late. Let's go back to the residence. Yun Chuzhou nodded and greeted the few shopkeepers and the onlookers warmly before following Madame Luo into the Mo residence. Madame Luo was anxious to know what had happened, so she said to Mo Fangqin, bring your eldest sister to her courtyard. Dongqing, Xia Yi, you will be the eldest Miss Handmaidens from now on. Don't neglect her. Mo Fangqin nodded. Yes, mother. Eldest sister, come with me. Mother has specially arranged for you to stay in Qingyu Pavilion. The decorations inside are very unique. You will definitely like it. Mo Fangqin said to Yun Chuzhou affectionately. Yun Chuzhou clapped her hands and said happily, then thank you, second aunt. Third sister, let's go. I can't wait to see my courtyard. Mo Fangqin agreed, but in her heart, she was very disdainful. What a country bumpkin. However, this guy was really audacious. Not only did he dare to blow up the mansion, he even spent more than 20 million high-grade spirit stones. He was really courting death. Her mother actually didn't punish this country bumpkin. She didn't know what her father and mother wanted to do with her. After Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin left, Manager Xia fell to his knees. Madam. This servant is guilty. This servant deserves to die. Madame Luo kicked Manager Xia, you trash. Can't you stop her from buying things? You just let her blow up the mansion. Are you a dead person? Madame Luo was furious. Compared to the mansion being blown up, she was more pained by the 18 million high-grade spirit stones. Madam, this servant deserves to die. It wasn't that this servant didn't want to stop her, but this country bumpkin was really unconventional. Before this servant could react, she had already pierced through the sky. Manager Xia rolled and crawled back to his knees, he said with a sobbing voice. Madame Luo snorted coldly, what nonsense. She's just a little girl from a lower continent. What ability does she have? You can be considered an old man by my side. It's because I trust you that I've entrusted such an important matter to you. Yet, you've created such a huge mess for me. If husband didn't trust me, do you think that I would still be able to protect you? The manor door has been blown up by someone. Those few families might laugh at us. Manager Xia said with snot and tears, Madam, this servant understands my mistake. This servant will definitely learn a lesson next time and won't make such a mistake again. Madame Luo took a deep breath. Get up. At such an old age, how could he still be crying like this? Even though you made some mistakes, it was still a great achievement that you managed to bring her back. Tell me, what exactly happened? When Manager Xia heard what Mrs. Luo said, she heaved a sigh of relief. She knew that she had passed this hurdle. She did not dare to mention the 3 million high-grade spirit stones that she had paid. She could only accept the fact that she was unlucky. Manager Xia stood up and told Madame Luo everything that had happened, then, she said, Madam, this country bumpkin doesn't seem to care about her adoptive parents. Moreover, when she heard that she was coming to the immortal Yuan continent, she agreed to come with this servant without the slightest hesitation. Therefore, this servant feels that she is a vain, greedy, and cowardly trash. Madame Luo nodded. If that's the case, then that country bumpkin must be crazy about shopping and blowing up the mansion just to please us. Since that's the case, this country bumpkin won't be able to make any waves. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Manager Xia fawningly said, Madam is right. Firstly, that country bumpkin's spiritual power is low, and secondly, she doesn't have anyone to support her. If you give her a slight warning, she won't dare to jump around anymore. Madame Luo coldly snorted. Wanting to kill her is like killing an ant. If she wasn't still useful, I would have killed her long ago. A country bumpkin actually spent more than 20 million high-grade spirit stones on me in one go. It's truly detestable. Madam, didn't she say that the things she bought were to be given to you and the other masters as gifts? Since she was trying to please you and the other masters, she would definitely use most of the things as gifts. This way, she could also recoup some of the losses. Manager Xia thought of the 3 million high-grade spirit stones that she had paid, her heart was bleeding. Madame Luo looked a little better after hearing Manager Xia's words. It made sense. Most of the items that country bumpkin bought would be used to give to her as a gift. This way, she would have less losses. On the other side, Mo Fangqin accompanied Yun Chujio out of the living room. After making a few turns, they arrived in front of a courtyard. On the plaque, there were 3 words, Qingyu Pavilion. Big sister, this is the Qingyu Xian that mother arranged for you. Isn't it much better than the one you're living in? Mo Fangqin's tone was filled with disdain. Mo Fangqin felt that Yun Chujio was either ashamed or grateful for her words. She did not expect that. Yun Chujio curled her lips and said, "Third sister, the courtyard that our maids in the Tianyuan continent live in is more than twice the size of this Qingyu Xian. Sigh, but I also know that second aunt has done her best. I'll just make do with it." Mo Fangqin was almost angered. Your maids in the Tianyuan continent live in a bigger courtyard than this. Who are you lying to? Mo Fangqin wanted to mock her, but when she thought of the mission that Madame Luo had given her, she could only laugh. Big sister is really funny and humorous. Let's go in. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and followed Mo Fangqin into the courtyard. The layout of the courtyard was indeed very exquisite. Other than the flowers and plants that were carefully taken care of, there was also a swing in the corner of the courtyard. Yun Chujio muttered in her heart. It seemed that Mrs. Luo had some brains after all. She did not mistreat her on the surface. The more she did this, the more it meant that she had a big motive for bringing her back. What was the purpose of this? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. This huge Mo residence needed to find a temporary alliance. Mo Fangqin was a good choice. Although Yun Chujio thought so, she naturally would not be so foolish as to say to Mo Fangqin, "Let's form an alliance." It was estimated that after saying that a moment ago, Mo Fangqin would tell Madame Luo in the next moment. This needed an opportunity to force the two of them into a united front. She could not be anxious. Mo Fangqin should be grateful for Yun Chujio's thoughts at this moment. Otherwise, this black-hearted person would definitely trick her so much that she would not even recognize Auntie Chiu. Mo Fangqin wanted to create a good impression in front of Yun Chujio so that she could keep an eye on her. Therefore, she enthusiastically helped to instruct Dong Qing and Xia Yi to busy themselves with cleaning. She also asked the two of them to fetch a bath for Yun Chujio. "Big sister, since you're so tired and rushed back, I won't disturb your rest. It's getting late today. Mother will probably arrange the welcoming banquet for you tomorrow night." Mo Fangqin saw that the arrangements were almost done. She smiled and said to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio nodded. "In that case, third sister, I'll see you tomorrow." Mo Fangqin took a few steps forward. Her heart stirred, and she turned her head and said, "Big sister, I'll look for you tomorrow morning. Let's go and greet mother together." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips. "Third sister, have you lost your mind? I am the Mo family's first daughter. Although second aunt has been promoted, she cannot stand my greetings. If you want to go, go ahead. I am prepared to sleep in." Big sister, are you really not going?" Mo Fangqin never dreamed that Yun Chujio would say such bold words. The reason why Mo Fangqin wanted Yun Chujio to go with her to greet her was firstly because she wanted to close the distance between her and Yun Chujio. Secondly, she wanted Madame Luo to shift her attention to Yun Chujio to avoid making things difficult for her. "I'm not going. I'm not full. If I have the time, I might as well sleep in more." "Actually, you don't have to go. You're a serious master. It's reasonable to greet Auntie Chiu, but why are you greeting second auntie?" Yun Chujio pouted. Mo Fangqin's eyes dimmed when she heard Yun Chujio's words. Naturally, she wasn't willing to pay respects to Madame Luo either. However, they weren't doted on by Mo Cheng, and Madame Luo's family was powerful. Would she dare not pay respects for the sake of her life? Big sister, what are you talking about? It's filial piety for me to pay respects to Madame Luo. It's fine if you don't go, but I naturally have to go. Mo Fangkin's heart was in turmoil. However, she knew that Dong Qing and Xia Yi were both Manager Xia's people, so she naturally didn't dare to leave any evidence behind. Hearing Mo Fangkin's words, Yun Chujio curled her lips. If you want to go, then go. Anyway, I'm not going. Oh right, stay and have dinner with me. Anyway, I've booked 10 tables at Ji Qing restaurant. Mo Fangqin hesitated for a moment, but still refused. Big sister, thank you for your kindness. I still have some matters to attend to when I go back, so I'll be leaving now. Yun Chujio waved her hand nonchalantly before Mo Fangqin left the Qingyu pavilion. Mo Fangkin's face revealed a look of disdain. Her mother placed great importance on money. These banquets of country bumpkins had cost quite a number of spirit stones. If she were to eat with her, her mother would inevitably be dissatisfied with her. This country bumpkin had just arrived and did not know her mother's methods. She would be doomed sooner or later. Yun Chujio saw Mo Fangqin leave and said to Dong Qing and Xia Yi, "Get the bathtub ready for me. I want to shower and change." Yes. Dong Qing and Xia Yi walked into the house. Xia Yi took out a large bathtub and started to heat up the water. Dong Qing walked to the outside and saw Yun Chujio playing on the swing in the courtyard. A fierce look flashed across her eyes. "Bitch! How dare you slap her? I'll teach you a lesson later." Dong Qing returned to the bedroom and took out a paper bag from her storage ring. She sprinkled the powder inside into the bathtub. Xia Yi was shocked and asked in a low voice, "Dong Qing, what are you doing?" "Humph. That country bumpkin is really too much. She caused a huge disaster as soon as she came back and even slapped me. Naturally, I won't let her have it easy." This was hook vine powder. In a few hours, that country bumpkin would have a rash all over her body and it would itch her to death. Moreover, there is no antidote for this hook vine powder. I can only endure it. Dong Qing gritted her teeth and said. "Dong Qing. You can't do this. If Madame finds out, she will not forgive you." Xia Yi hurriedly tried to dissuade her. "Don't worry. Even if she wants to complain, she has to have evidence. After she finishes showering, we will pour out the bath water. Where will she find evidence? Listen to me, that's right." Seeing that Dong Qing was determined, Xia Yi did not try to persuade her anymore. She did not have a good impression of Yun Chujio either. She was just a pheasant that had flown onto a branch. Did she really think that she was a phoenix? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. After Dong Qing and Xia Yi finished preparing the bath water, they came to the courtyard. "Miss, the bath water is ready. You can take a bath now." Yun Chujio got up from the swing and strolled into the bedroom. Dong Qing heard the sound of water being stirred from inside and could not help but gloat at Xia Yi. "There will be a good show tomorrow." Xia Yi also laughed in a low voice. A pheasant was a pheasant. Even if it flew onto the branches, it would still be a pheasant. After a full 2 hours, Yun Chujio's voice came from the bedroom. "I'm done washing up. Come and clean up." Dong Qing and Xia Yi looked at each other. It was already dark. This country bumpkin was really slow. When the two of them entered the bedroom, they saw that Yun Chujio had already changed into a set of light yellow clothes. After bathing, her skin had a faint pink color. Although Dong Qing and Xia Yi looked down on Yun Chujio, they had to admit that this country bumpkin was indeed good-looking. She was even more beautiful than the second miss, but unfortunately, she was a trash with low spiritual power. The two of them were about to put away the bathtub when they heard Yun Chujio say with a smile, "You've been busy all day. Take a bath too." Dong Qing and Xia Yi shook their heads immediately. What a joke. Not to mention that this was the bath water that they had used up, the hook vine powder alone was enough to kill someone. What? Are you guys looking down on me? Yun Chujia's small face darkened. Although Dong Qing and Xia Yi were not afraid of her, they still had to put up with her. Thus, Xia Yi said, "Miss, you've misunderstood. How could we look down on you? It's just that it's not convenient for us these few days, so we can't take a bath." Xia Yi was very proud. With this excuse, how could you force us to take a bath? Sure enough, Yun Chujio nodded. That's really unfortunate. If that's the case, let's just forget about it. Dong Qing and Xia Yi exchanged a subtle glance. She was just a country bumpkin, so she could easily fool them. Why is there a person in the corner? Yun Chujio suddenly shouted. Dong Qing and Xia Yi subconsciously looked in the direction that Yun Chujio pointed to, but they did not expect Yun Chujio to shout again. Oh my god! Why does she look exactly like me? It's so scary. Yun Chujio shouted as she pounced towards Dong Qing. It seemed that she wanted to hide behind Dong Qing. Dong Qing was staring at the corner of the wall in confusion. She did not expect Yun Chujio to rush over. She was knocked off balance by Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio followed the momentum with a palm strike and Dong Qing fell headfirst into the bathtub. Xia Yi was shocked. She reached out her hand to pull Dong Qing up. Yun Chujio kicked at her lower back. Xia Yi was caught off guard and was kicked by Yun Chujio. She and the bathtub were kicked to the outside by Yun Chujio. The bath water spilled all over the floor, and Dong Qing was drenched. Although Xia Yi did not fall into the bathtub, the water still spilled onto her body. Dong Qing climbed up in a sorry state. Her face was red with anger. She pointed at Yun Chujio and said angrily, "What are you doing?" Xia Yi also glared at Yun Chujio. "Miss, what did we do wrong? Why are you treating us like this?" Yun Chujio snorted coldly. "What did you do wrong? Someone told me that you put something dirty in the bath water. Why don't you just tell us the truth?" The two of them naturally would not admit it. Dong Qing said fiercely but cowardly, "Miss, you are making this up out of thin air. How could we put something dirty in it? If I put something dirty in it, how could you be fine? Besides, who else is here? Who framed us?" Yun Chujio lowered her voice and said mysteriously, "Didn't I tell you? There is a woman who looks exactly like me standing in the corner. She told me. I would rather believe it than not believe it. I didn't take a bath with this bucket of water. I took a bath with the water from my storage ring, so of course I'm fine." Dong Qing and Xia Yi saw that Yun Chujio had a nose and eyes, and then they thought about how Yun Chujio looked exactly like her. Oh God, could it be the late madam? It was said that this country bumpkin looked very similar to her mother. At this time, the sky was already dark. A gust of wind happened to blow past, and the door was blown open. Both of them couldn't help but shiver. Could it really be the ghost of the late madam? Although the two of them were cultivators, they were still a little afraid of the ghost story. Even so, they would not admit it. Otherwise, it would be a great crime to murder their master, and even if they made a fuss about it, Madam might not be able to protect them. Eldest Miss, the ghost story is nonsense. Forget it, who asked you to be the master? Rest well, clean it up. Xia Yi was more flexible than Dong Qing. No matter what, it was important to destroy the evidence first. Although the bathtub had fallen, there was still some bath water in it. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Then you should clean up well. By the way, I have to remind you that although I didn't use this bath water, the bath water was not wasted. Your bodies are all wet. Dong Qing and Xia Yi were busy questioning Yun Chujio just now and did not think of this. Now that they heard Yun Chujio's words, their faces immediately turned pale. It was over. The effect of this Guai Chao powder was extremely strong. As long as it was applied to the skin, it would take effect. The two of them could not care less about whether they would be exposed or not and rushed out in a hurry. Yun Chujio curled her lips. With such an IQ, she still wanted to fight with her. There was no sense of accomplishment in torturing them. It was more interesting to fight with that old white lotus. Although Yun Chujio did not know any Guai Chao powder, this fellow had a strange grasp. Guai Chao knew that Yun Chujio hated it to death, so it had to increase its favorability from time to time, so it took the initiative to warn Yun Chujio. Although Guai Chao couldn't speak, Yun Chujio had been with it for a long time, so she could basically guess its meaning, which was why it made such a scene. Dong Qing and Xia Yi rushed to their house. They didn't care whether it was cold or hot water, and used all the water in their storage rings to shower, afraid that there would be Guai Chao residue. Xia Yi could not help but complain, "It's all your fault. This is great. The grapevine powder is very strong. Even if we wash it like this, we will still suffer." And they also provided evidence. "That country bumpkin will definitely complain to Madam. We will not be spared from punishment." Dong Qing did not look good either. "Didn't you agree to it later? Now you're blaming me." Even if she really went to complain and we refused to admit it, would Madam still side with her? Do you think it was really the ghost of the late Madam who reminded that country bumpkin? Hearing Dong Qing's words, Xia Yi felt a chill down her spine. Don't talk nonsense. The country bumpkin must have seen through something. The MO residence hasn't heard of a ghost for so many years. How could there be a female ghost today? Maybe it's because the country bumpkin is back. The late Madam was worried about her daughter, so she reminded her. Otherwise, how could she, a country bumpkin from a lower continent, see the hook vine powder? Dong Qing said with uncertainty. The more they talked, the more frightened they became. At this moment, they saw a figure with disheveled hair floating above the window lattice. They immediately cried out in alarm, "Ah! A ghost!" This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Dong Qing and Xia Yi cried out in fear, trembling. The figure floated back again, and there was a faint sound of laughter. Dong Qing and Xia Yi were so frightened that they collapsed on the ground. Fortunately, after the figure floated back, it did not come back. Only then did the two of them put on their clothes, trembling, and used their courage to come outside. The two of them checked and found that there was not a single footprint by the window, which meant that it was not a human disguise. Something had really floated past. The two of them turned pale. Could it be that the late Madam had really appeared? Dong Qing and Xia Yi were scared out of their wits. They did not dare to go to Yun Chujio's house to clean up. On the other side, Yun Chujio put away the chopping board, tied up her hair, hummed a tune and put the bathtub into her storage ring. Then, she took out the food from Ji Qing restaurant and started to eat happily. As she ate, her eyes turned red. She did not know how her beautiful mother and the pretty boy were doing. They must be very worried about her. Yun Chujio had once tried to secretly use a voice transmission talisman to contact Di Biming, but the voice transmission talisman could not be sent out at all. Now, she was really alone. What the fuck? All of this was caused by this damn MO residence. Old bitch, old white lotus, just you wait. If I don't turn your son of by TCH upside down, my name will not be Yun Chujio. This fellow's self-regulation ability was very strong. After cursing a few times, he wiped his tears with his sleeve, turning his grief and anger into appetite. Yes, continue eating. The next morning, Dong Qing and Xia Yi rushed out of the courtyard with veils covering their faces. Last night, the two of them were initially afraid to sleep at all. Later, when they wanted to sleep, the hook vine powder took effect again. The two of them were so itchy that they could not fall asleep at all. After the two of them had discussed it, they went to ask Manager Xia at first light. No matter what, they wouldn't serve this country bumpkin anymore. Whoever was willing to come to this haunted shabby courtyard would come. They wouldn't stay no matter what. When Dong Qing and Xia Yi arrived at the main courtyard, Manager Xia was serving breakfast to Mo Cheng and Mrs. Luo. The two of them didn't dare to disturb them, so they could only wait outside the hospital. Mrs. Luo and Mo Cheng had just eaten breakfast when Mo Fangqin came over to greet Mrs. Luo and Mo Cheng. After a while, Mo Fanghua also came over. Mo Fangqin pursed her lips in her heart. Usually, Mo Fanghua did not come. It was probably arranged by Mrs. Luo on purpose, so that she could take the opportunity to teach that country bumpkin a lesson. Damn it! Yesterday, she had kindly told her, but she did not appreciate it. Sure enough, Mo Cheng looked at the time and said angrily, that unfilial daughter didn't come at this hour. She really has no manners at all. Mrs. Luo said gently, maybe she got up late because she was tired after a long journey yesterday. Manager Xia, send someone to ask what happened. Manager Xia was afraid that this matter would slip up again, so she decided to go and see for herself. As soon as Manager Xia left the courtyard, Dong Qing and Xia Yi came over. Manager Xia was stunned when she saw the two of them. Dong Qing and Xia Yi. Why are you here instead of working at Qingyu Pavilion? Where's Miss? And why are you wearing veils? Dong Qing and Xia Yi cried, Manager Xia, help. Save us. Manager Xia was even more confused. Help? What's going on? Dong Qing recounted what happened last night. Manager Xia, I beg you, please put in a good word for us. Don't let us serve that country bumpkin. If we serve her again, we might lose our lives. Manager Xia was much smarter than Dong Qing and Xia Yi. She cursed angrily, you two idiots. Where did the ghosts come from? When has our Mo residence ever been haunted? You are cultivators, so why are you afraid of ghosts? This is clearly that country bumpkin playing with you. Dong Qing and Xia Yi shook their heads like rattledrums. No, this is real. We took a look. There are no footprints under the window. Even if we ride a sword, we can't fly that low. There must be a ghost. Besides, that country bumpkin doesn't know about gouting powder. If the ghost didn't tell her, how would she know? Can't we erase the footprints? Gouting powder is not odorless. Maybe the country bumpkin can smell it. What's so hard about that? Manager Xia wished she could kick them a few times. They were so stupid. After hearing Manager Xia's words, the doubts in Dong Qing and Xia Yi's hearts were mostly dispelled. However, they still said, Manager Xia, although that's the case, we really don't want to serve that country bumpkin. You'd better think of a way to help us change jobs. We'll talk about it after a while. After what happened yesterday, Madam is unhappy with me. How can I dare to mention your matters? Why didn't that country bumpkin come over to pay his respects? Dong Qing's eyes lit up when she heard Manager Xia's question. Manager Xia, I heard that country bumpkin and third miss said yesterday. Manager Xia snorted. This country bumpkin is so audacious. Does he really think he's someone? Although Manager Xia wanted to report this matter to Madame Luo, she thought that if she sold Mo Fangqin, Yun Chujio would be unhappy with Mo Fangqin in the future. This would not be good for Mo Fangqin to monitor Yun Chujio. Therefore, Manager Xia decided to look for Yun Chujio. Manager Xia brought Dong Qing and Xia Yi to Qingyu Pavilion. The room was silent. Manager Xia could only say from outside the room, "Miss. Master and Madam are calling for you." The room was still silent. There was no movement. Manager Xia could only raise her voice and say again, "Miss. Master and Madam are calling for you." There was still no response from inside the house. Manager Xia couldn't take it anymore and raised her voice, "Miss. If you don't make a sound, we will rush in for your safety." Finally, an angry scolding came from inside, "What the fuck? Why are you howling so early in the morning? I haven't woken up yet." Manager Xia was stunned by this strange and refreshing way of waking up and scolding. Before she could react, she heard Yun Chuzhou say again, "Forget it. Tell my father and second aunt. I will go after I wash up." Manager Xia was very angry, but no matter how bad Yun Chuzhou was, she was still her master on the surface. She could only grit her teeth and say, "Miss, I'll go with you after you wash up. If you're willing to wait, then wait. Dongqing, Xia Yi, have you prepared the face-washing water for me?" Yun Chujia's lazy voice came from inside. Dongqing and Xia Yi were dumbfounded. They had used the hot water in their storage rings to take a bath yesterday, and now they didn't even have cold water, let alone hot water. Fortunately, there was still some hot water in Manager Xia's storage ring, so he asked the two of them to bring it in to help Yun Chuzhou wash up. Yun Chuzhou saw Dongqing and Xia Yi and couldn't help but ask curiously, "Hey, why are you wearing veils? Are you shameless because you think you look too ugly?" Dongqing and Xia Yi were so angry that they were twitching. However, they could not say that they were wearing the veils because they were poisoned. If that was the case, Yun Chuzhou would have an excuse to punish them. Therefore, the two of them could only stammer, "Miss, our faces are a little allergic to pollen, so we wear the veils to prevent it." Yun Chuzhou nodded, "I see. TSK, I thought you were shameless. By the way, could it be that there was really something dirty in the bath water yesterday, so your faces can't be seen?" Dongqing and Xia Yi shook their heads quickly, and Xia Yi quickly changed the topic, "Miss, you'd better wash up quickly. The master and madam are still waiting for you." Yun Chuzhou then slowly rinsed her mouth and washed her face. Then, she slowly walked to the outside room. Manager Xia saw Yun Chuzhou coming out and thought that she could leave now. Unexpectedly, Yun Chuzhou sat down on the chair and took out food from her storage ring. Manager Xia couldn't help but be stunned. "Miss, you. What are you doing? The master and madam are still waiting for you. Are you blind? Of course, it's breakfast. Are you trying to starve me to death? No one brought me dinner last night, and no one brought me breakfast this morning. Sigh. Those who are not welcomed can only rely on themselves. Fortunately, I ordered 10 tables yesterday, or else I would have really starved to death," Yun Chuzhou said with a long sigh. Dongqing and Xia Yi were too scared yesterday to even think about getting dinner. Only then did the two of them remember that they had been hungry for 2 meals. It would have been better if they didn't think about it. Now that they smelled the aroma of the food on the table, they suddenly felt very hungry. Yun Chuzhou mumbled as she ate, TSK, the food at Ji Qing restaurant is really good. Moreover, the banquet was well matched. There was soup and water, and it was not greasy in the morning. Look at this Xilongbao. It's so thick on the outside and full of juice inside. It's simply a delicacy in the world. Dongqing and Xia Yi unconsciously swallowed their saliva. It was not that they were useless, but they were too hungry. Miss, the master and madam are still waiting for you. Please fill your stomach and leave. Manager Xia wanted to flip the table over. The master and madam were still waiting on the other side, but this country bumpkin was still eating slowly. This was too much. Yun Chuzhou took out a handkerchief and wiped her mouth. She said slowly, Manager Xia, you may not know that I am angry when I wake up and angry when I am hungry. If anyone blabbers during my meal, I will turn my back on them. Manager Xia was so angry that she was twitching. She had never heard of anyone being angry when they were hungry. This country bumpkin obviously did not put the master and madam in his eyes. If it were not for yesterday's incident, Manager Xia would have dragged Yun Chuzhou away. However, when she thought of this brat's short temper, she even dared to blow up the mansion. Would she blow up Qin Yuxian as well? Therefore, she could only wait bitterly at the side. Yun Chuzhou ate breakfast for more than an hour. Manager Xia was so anxious that her forehead was covered in sweat. Finally, she saw Yun Chuzhou put down her chopsticks. "Miss, can we leave now?" Unexpectedly, Yun Chuzhou took out a teapot and a teacup. She slowly began to drink the tea. "What's the hurry? We can't exercise too much after eating. We can leave after I drink a few cups of tea." Manager Xia couldn't take it anymore. She almost shouted, "Miss! Don't go too far. The master and madam have their limits. You should think of the Yun family when you do this." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. When Yun Chuzhou heard Manager Xia's words, she suddenly raised her head. When Manager Xia saw Yun Chuzhou's deep and cold gaze, he could not help but take 2 steps back. Why was this country bumpkin's gaze so terrifying? When Manager Xia looked again, she saw Yun Chuzhou saying indifferently, "If you are willing to kill, then go kill. Anyway, I have food and drink. What does their lives have to do with me?" Manager Xia heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that it was just an illusion. Although this country bumpkin had a heavenly thunder spirit root, his spiritual power was so low. He would not have such a murderous look. He must have seen wrongly. However, this country bumpkin really did not care about the lives of those people. He was really cold-hearted. When Manager Xia and the others went to capture Yun Chuzhou, they came and went in a hurry. Therefore, they only inquired about the basic situation. Therefore, they did not know much about Yun Chuzhou. Firstly, they were pressed for time. Secondly, they did not put Yun Chuzhou in their eyes at all. What could a teenage girl do? If they knew that Yun Chuzhou took the risk to sneak into the netherworld alone in order to save her adoptive parents, they would not have made such a judgment. They could only say that their arrogance was digging a hole for themselves. Just when Manager Xia did not know what to do next, Yun Chuzhou finished the tea in her teacup in one gulp. "Forget it. I see that it is not easy for you to be caught in the middle, so I will reluctantly not waste any more time. Let's go." Manager Xia could only say with a stiff face, "Thank you for your understanding, miss. Please go ahead." Yun Chuzhou stood up and slowly walked out of the courtyard. "Manager Xia, I didn't look at our MO residence in detail yesterday. I happen to have some time today, so you can introduce it to me properly." "Whose courtyard is that?" Yun Chuzhou pointed at a courtyard. Manager Xia was on the verge of breaking down. Oh my God! The family head and madam were probably going to explode from anger. "You still have the heart to tour around? Eldest miss, that is the second miss courtyard. After you meet the family head and madam, this servant will definitely introduce it to you. Let's leave quickly." "Sigh, it's not that I don't want to leave quickly. I'm really a little stuffed from eating. I can't leave quickly. If you guys are really anxious, I don't mind if you carry me on your back. You can even carry me on a soft couch." Yun Chuzhou sighed, she spread her hands and said helplessly. Manager Xia almost spat out a mouthful of blood. She had seen thick-skinned people before, but this was the first time she had seen such a shameless person. However, Manager Xia was worried that Madame Luo and Mo Cheng would get angry, so she had no choice but to take out a soft couch from her storage ring. "Dong Qing, Xia Yi, you guys carry Miss Luo away. Hurry up." Dong Qing and Xia Yi felt as if their hearts were going to explode. This country bumpkin was obviously lying through his teeth. She couldn't move. She was just lazy. The two of them were so hungry that they felt uncomfortable. They could only swallow a few fasting pills before carrying Yun Chujio forward. Yun Chujio sat on the soft couch happily. She took out a red silk thread from her storage ring and waved it back and forth. You guys are too slow. Run quickly. My father and second aunt are probably waiting like mushrooms. Dong Qing and Xia Yi wished they could just throw this guy on the ground. However, they dared not to do so, so they could only speed up and run towards the main courtyard. The servants of the Mo residence were dumbfounded and confused. Was that the legendary young miss who blew up the mansion? Was she injured or something? Why was she still being carried away? At this moment, Mo Cheng, who was in the main courtyard, was about to explode with anger. Xiaoyun, didn't you always tell me that this manager Xia is quick in handling matters? Why can't she understand one or two of them? Tell her to look for that unfilial daughter. This time, she's gone too. Madame Luo hurriedly added, Master, something must have gone wrong. Chilan, go and see what's going on. Just as the maid Chilan was about to leave, she saw Dong Qing and Xia Yi carrying Yun Chujio into the courtyard. Manager Xia had a stiff expression on his face. Since the door was open, Mo Cheng and Madame Luo naturally saw it too. The two of them were also at a loss. What was going on? Yun Chujio jumped down from the soft couch and entered the house with a smile. Good morning, father, good morning, second aunt, and sisters. Mo Cheng snorted coldly. You are really arrogant. You actually sent someone to invite them over. Don't you know the rules of the morning and evening provincial government? Father, I have no parents since I was young. Naturally, no one taught me the rules of the morning and evening provincial government. Besides, didn't you say that my mother has been dead for many years? You are busy with official business. Who should I invite to the morning and evening provincial government? Yun Chujio spread her hands and said helplessly. Mo Cheng narrowed his eyes and snorted coldly, Are you blaming me for not bringing you back in time? You didn't greet me, but didn't you have your mother? Fang Hua and Fan Qin both came to greet me. Why are you an exception? I don't dare to blame father. A son doesn't speak of his father's past. No matter how much of a bastard you are, I don't dare to say it. As for this second aunt, she is only a servant even after being promoted. How can I, a daughter of the first wife, greet her? If this gets out, people will laugh at our Mo family for not following the rules. Yun Chujio's face was beaming, however, the words she said were piercing into people's hearts. Madame Luo's expression immediately darkened. Mo Cheng was even more furious, impudent. You unfilial daughter. You actually dared to use malicious words to insult your biological father and the mistress of the household. You're truly disobedient and unfilial. Men. Lock this unfilial daughter in the myriad snakes prison for me. Hearing that Mo Cheng was going to lock Yun Chujio in the myriad snakes prison, everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The myriad snakes prison was where the Mo family punished those who betrayed their master and servants. Although the myriad snakes was a little exaggerated, there were at least a few hundred poisonous snakes inside. Once this person entered, he would definitely die. Although Madame Luo felt relieved when she thought of that matter. She hurriedly advised, Master, Fang Chao, this child doesn't know how to speak. Don't lower yourself to her level. I don't mind if she wishes us peace or not. As long as our family is reunited, it's better than anything else. Mo Cheng slapped the table hard. Humph. Since your mother is pleading for you, they'll let you off this time. If you do it again, I won't let you off, you evil creature. Yun Chujio's mouth twitched in her heart. Evil creature. I'm not a fucking demon. Is it appropriate to call me an evil creature? You're the old beast. Then thank you very much, father and second aunt. After saying that, he didn't need anyone to let him off and directly sat on an empty chair. Mo Cheng's sincerity was about to flare up. Madame Luo hurriedly said, Fang Chao, it was too late yesterday, so I didn't arrange a welcoming banquet for you. However, I still have to give you this welcome gift. This autumn water jade bracelet is a high-grade defensive spirit tool, so I'll give it to you. Before Madame Luo could finish her words, Yun Chuzhou jumped down from the chair. She smiled brightly. Thank you, second aunt. I wonder what gift father is going to give me for our first meeting. Shouldn't my two younger sisters express their gratitude as well? Oh right, I heard that I have a precious younger brother. Where is he? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Madame Luo's smile froze on her face. Mo Cheng and the rest were also stunned. There was actually such a thick-skinned person. He actually took the initiative to ask for a meeting gift. Mo Cheng could not help but snort coldly. How shameless. Xiaoyun, don't give her this meeting gift. There's no need to give it to her. Yun Chujia's small face immediately turned bright and cloudy. She said to Madame Luo, second aunt, you can't go back on your words. Your father is joking with you. Of course I have to give you this gift. Madame Luo couldn't help but despise him in her heart. It seemed that Manager Xia was right. This country bumpkin was really greedy. Yun Chuzhou took the autumn water jade bracelet from Madame Luo's hand and put it into her storage ring with satisfaction. Then, she looked at Mo Cheng. Father, second aunt has already given it to you. As the head of the family, you can't be so stingy, right? This guy never knew what it meant to be embarrassed. If he didn't give it to her, he would just ask for it directly. Mo Cheng had the intention to not give it to her, so Mrs. Luo gave him a look. She could only give Yun Chuzhou a high-grade defensive spiritual weapon with a cold snort. Yun Chuzhou smiled and put it into her storage ring. After thanking her, she looked at Mo Fanghua. A trace of disdain flashed across Mo Fanghua's eyes. She didn't say anything and directly threw a middle-grade defensive spiritual weapon to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou couldn't help but curl her lips. What a stingy person. Seeing that Mo Fanghua had already given it to her, Mo Fangqin could only take out a middle-grade defensive spiritual weapon and hand it to Yun Chuzhou. Second aunt, you haven't answered me yet. Where's my precious little brother? Yun Chuzhou made a small fortune and returned to her seat with satisfaction. Your grandfather and grandmother missed their grandchildren, so Jun Chen went to the mansion, Mrs. Luo said with a smile. Oh, so I still have grandparents. Yun Chuzhou said as if she had suddenly realized something. Mo Cheng almost fainted from anger. What was she saying? You don't have grandparents, could it be that I came out from the crack of a rock? For a moment, the atmosphere in the room was very strange. No one said anything else, only the sound of Yun Chuzhou sipping tea could be heard. This fellow never bothered others when he could do things himself. He crossed his legs and drank by himself, feeling very uncomfortable. Mrs. Luo thought of the 20 million spiritual stones that Yun Chuzhou spent and gave Mo Fangqin a look. Although Mo Fangqin was unwilling, she did not dare to disobey, so she could only pretend to be mischievous. Big sister, I heard that you bought a lot of good things yesterday and said that you wanted to give them to us as a greeting gift. I am a thick-skinned person, can you give them to me now? Mrs. Luo looked at Mo Fangqin with satisfaction. Although this daughter of a concubine was an eyesore, she was still obedient. With her words, that country bumpkin would probably take the opportunity to take out the things he bought. You're quite thick-skinned. Yun Chuzhou put down the teacup and said slowly. Mo Fangqin's face immediately turned red. She stood up abruptly and was about to question Yun Chuzhou. She heard Yun Chuzhou continue, however, this person is still a little more thick-skinned. Isn't there a good saying that if you are thick-skinned enough, you won't be able to eat it? So, third sister, I really like your thick-skinned face. When Mo Fangqin heard Yun Chujia's words, she did not know whether she was praising or mocking her. She did not know whether she should continue to stand or sit down. Madame Luo saw this and said, Fangqin, your big sister is joking with you. Quickly sit down. Fangchao, look at how you are making Fangqin cry. Hurry up and give her a gift to coax her. Aya, third sister, even if you don't tell me, I will still give everyone a gift. Although I don't have much knowledge, I still know how to return the favor. I have carefully prepared a gift for everyone. Yun Chuzhou sneered in her heart. This old white lotus must be thinking about the things she had bought. It would be a pipe dream to pluck feathers from her iron rooster. Hearing Yun Chujia's words, Madame Luo and the others were filled with anticipation. They all knew that Yun Chuzhou had bought many good things yesterday. It was estimated that the greeting gifts must be very expensive. Mo Fangqin could not help but feel annoyed. Auntie Chiu had not been feeling well these few days, so she had not come over to greet her. Otherwise, she would have received a gift. Father, sir, I have angered you the moment I came back. Sir, if you don't remember me, then don't lower yourself to my level. Please accept this small gift. Yun Chuzhou took out a tray from her storage ring. The tray was covered with a red cloth, so it was hard to tell what was inside. Mo Qing snorted and signaled Manager Xia to bring the tray over. Manager Xia took the tray and was very curious. It was quite heavy. Could it be a spiritual weapon? This country bumpkin had bought a low-grade immortal weapon yesterday. Maybe it was that low-grade immortal weapon. This country bumpkin knew that he had money to spend. Although Mo Cheng was also somewhat looking forward to it, he didn't dare to hastily pull open the red cloth because of his status. He said coldly, put it on the table first. Madame Luo smiled and said, Master, this is a token of appreciation from the fragrant grass. Open it and let us see it. Only then did Mo Cheng pull open the red cloth. However, when he saw what was inside, he was instantly stunned. Not only was he stunned, Mrs. Luo and the others were also stunned. Mo Cheng roared angrily, evil creature. What do you mean by giving me a cabbage? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes, cabbage is the same as wealth. I'm giving you this cabbage to wish you a great fortune. Don't you want to be rich? Mo Cheng was speechless. He couldn't just say that he wanted something valuable and didn't want this cabbage, right? Therefore, Mo Cheng glared at Yun Chuzhou without saying a word. Madame Luo had an inexplicable ominous feeling in her heart. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to get the 20 million back. As expected. Yun Chuzhou immediately said with a smile, I've always done things fairly. In order to prevent everyone from having any objections, I've prepared all the auspicious cabbages for everyone. I've even prepared the cabbages for Jun Chen and Auntie Chiu. After Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she took out 5 trays covered with red cloth and passed them to Madame Luo and the others with a smile. Everyone lifted the red cloth, and inside, as expected, was a cabbages. Madame Luo was so angry that she did not have the time to maintain her poise. She directly asked, Fang Chao, I heard from Manager Xia that you spent more than 20 million upper-grade spirit stones to buy a gift yesterday. Why did you only give us a cabbages? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and said, Second aunt, that was my original plan. However, when I entered the residence, I saw that all of you seemed to be much richer than me. I reckon that you guys don't like those things. Therefore, I think it's better for me to keep those crappy things for myself. Moreover, the gift is light, but the sentiment is heavy. These cabbage were brought here by me from the Tian Yuan continent. After experiencing so many storms, other than you guys, no one else can taste the pure green organic cabbage. Madame Luo came to a conclusion from Yun Chujia's messy words. This country bumpkin had originally intended to take those things for himself. It was really detestable. A trace of viciousness appeared in Madame Luo's eyes. Did this country bumpkin really think that she was unscrupulous just because she had some uses? She had to teach her a lesson, or else it wouldn't be easy to deal with her in the future. Feng Chao, I think your spiritual power is really low, even lower than the maids in the residence. This won't do. You have to increase your spiritual power as soon as possible, Mrs. Luo said earnestly. Yun Chujio crossed her legs and took a sip of tea. Second aunt, I don't think the same as you. One has to enjoy life in this world. What's the point of training so hard? Besides, don't I still have my father to protect me? How can such a large MO residence allow me to be bullied? So, you guys just focus on your training. I'll just eat, drink, and have fun. Even in her dreams, Madame Luo had never expected Yun Chujio to have such a reaction. The words that she had prepared for Yun Chujio immediately became useless. She was at a loss for words. Upon seeing this, Mo Cheng smacked the table, the 2 cabbages on the table were sent flying. Vile creature! You still have the cheek to say such useless words. Our Mo family never raises trash, so there's no need to say more. From tomorrow onwards, there will be people to bring you to the dense forest outside the city to kill the demonic beasts. If you can't complete the mission for the day, you can sleep outside. After saying that, Mo Cheng waved his sleeve and went to the study room. Feng Qin, your father is doing this for your own good. The spiritual power of this cultivator is the most important. Don't worry, I will arrange for people to ensure that your life is not in danger. You can just go to the trial. Feng Qin, you have nothing to do. You should also go with them. Help those guards protect your elder sister, Madame Luo said earnestly. Mo Feng Qin was still gloating over her misfortunes, but who would have thought that disaster would fall from the sky? She didn't dare to refuse, so she blamed Yun Chujio in her heart. It was all because of this country bumpkin. If she couldn't complete the mission, then wouldn't she have to spend the night in the jungle too? Yun Chujio sighed and said with a sad face, well, in that case, I can only agree. Sigh, I thought I came back to enjoy my life, but I didn't expect to have to go to the trial. What a miserable life. Madame Luo said a few polite words and dismissed the crowd. Manager Xia, bring some people to follow that country bumpkin tomorrow. During the trial, as long as her life was not in danger, there was no need to care about her. After all, she would recover after a few more days of rest. This country bumpkin was really too arrogant. It's time to teach her a lesson, Madame Luo said viciously. Manager Xia's hatred for Yun Chujio was no less than Madame Xia's, so she naturally agreed without hesitation. She sneered in her heart, country bumpkin, let's see how you can continue to show off this time. On the other side, Dong Qing and Xia Yi couldn't help but secretly rejoice when they heard about this matter. It would be better if this country bumpkin died in the dense forest. This way, they would be able to escape from the sea of bitterness. The next day, after Yun Chujio had breakfast, Manager Xia came to visit. Miss, Madam has arranged for me to follow you to the trial. Let's go. Manager Xia thought that Yun Chujio would definitely dawdle like the day before. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio got up very quickly and said, let's go. We have to go sooner or later anyway. Manager Xia could not help but feel a little confused. Why was this country bumpkin always acting out of the ordinary? It was really unfathomable. Perhaps she had not realized how powerful the demonic beasts in the forest were. It must be so. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio and Manager Xia had just left the courtyard when Mo Fengqin arrived. Although Mo Fengqin was unwilling, in order to complete the task of monitoring Yun Chujio. She could only pretend to be affectionate and said, "Big sister, don't worry. Although my spiritual power is not high, I will do my best to protect you. Third sister, thank you very much. If you perform well, I will reward you with a few more cabbages." Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mo Fankin's face stiffened. If it were not for her years of training in front of Madame Luo, she would have thrown the cabbages in her storage ring at Yun Chujio's face. Who cares about your rotten cabbages? This country bumpkin was really stingy. Manager Xia brought another 20 guards before they left the Mo residence. The servants of the Mo residence were very efficient. The Mo residence had already installed a new door. Manager Xia was afraid that Yun Chujio would cause trouble, so this time, they also left through the door. Yun Chujio was like a little bird that had come out of a cage the moment she left the Mo residence. The smile on her face was almost overflowing. When she saw someone, she greeted, "Good morning, Auntie. Have you eaten?" "Good morning, Uncle. Have you eaten?" "Good morning, Uncle. Have you eaten?" The passers-by were all dumbfounded and at a loss when they were asked this question. Although, thanks to Yun Chujio's high profile when she entered the residence, most of the people in Jinchuan City knew this Mo residence's new eldest miss. However, the way this eldest Miss Mo greeted them seemed a little strange. "Have you eaten?" Is she really asking us if we've eaten? Or is it just a polite question? Someone who seemed to be familiar with them answered, "Yes, I've eaten." Is Miss Mo going out? Yun Chujio was waiting for someone to ask, so she said with a frown, "Sigh, don't mention it. My father said that my spiritual power is too low and I've embarrassed the Mo residence, so he told me to go to the dense forest outside the city to fend for myself." Manager Xia, who was beside her, was so angry that she was trembling. She quickly explained, "Our master said that he wants Miss to go to the dense forest to train. With the protection of us, he won't let anything happen to Miss." "That's not right, Manager Xia. Didn't my father say that if I don't complete the mission every day, I'm not allowed to return to the Mo residence? Isn't that just letting me fend for myself in the dense forest?" "Young Miss, the clan head is doing this for your own good. This cultivation is already against the heavens. How can we not face more trials and tribulations? Let's speed up." Manager Xia saw that more and more people were surrounding her. She wished that she could sew Yun Chujio's mouth shut. She felt that this trip to the dense forest was going to cause some trouble again. "Sigh, all right. I'm just afraid that some people will turn a blind eye to my death or intentionally injure me because they helped me pay for the spiritual stones. Forget it, it's my fault that I have no one to rely on. Life and death are determined by fate." Yun Chujio's voice became lower and lower as she spoke. In the end, she even sobbed slightly. The sense of justice and the mood of the onlookers immediately soared. "Miss Mo, we are also going to the jungle to train. If no one saves you, we will save you. That's right, the highest level of the demonic beasts in the jungle is only at level 32. We will have no problem working together. Miss Mo, you don't have to worry." Manager Xia was on the verge of breaking down. She really couldn't understand. This country bumpkin only asked a few questions. "Have you eaten?" How could there be so many people who had nothing better to do than to join in the fun? If these people followed, wouldn't Madame's plan fall through? Mo Fankin's eyes flashed. Was this country bumpkin saying this on purpose or was it just a coincidence? Could it be that she was more meticulous than Madame Luo? Mo Fangqin shook her head again. It was impossible. How could a country bumpkin from a lower continent be more shrewd than Madame Luo? It must be that this country bumpkin was a fool. These people had nothing better to do and were willing to watch the show. That was why they said this. Yun Chujio cupped her hands towards the crowd. "I appreciate everyone's kindness, but there's no need for everyone to go to the forest just for my sake. I believe that Manager Xia is not a person who uses public office to seek personal revenge. She definitely won't give me any difficult missions, and she won't intentionally let me get seriously injured. So, there's no need for all of you to go. Really, there's no need to go to the trouble. Initially, some people were still hesitating whether they should go to the dense forest. However, after hearing Yun Chujia's words, they became even more determined to go. Miss Mo, you're too polite. I originally wanted to hunt a few demonic beasts as a sacrifice. Let's go together. That's right. This person's heart is full of secrets. Nothing is absolute. Miss Mo, you have to be careful. That's right, you can't have the intention to harm others, but you can't be careless. Miss Mo, you're just too kind. Manager Xia's heart was like a dead dog. Kind? Are you sure you're talking about this country bumpkin? She's kind. If she was kind, she wouldn't have cheated the Mo residents of 20 million upper-grade spirit stones. If she was kind, she wouldn't have pretended to be a ghost to scare the maids. If she was kind, she wouldn't have used a pile of rotten cabbage as a welcome gift. Although Manager Xia wanted to chase these people away, she could only urge Yun Chujio to leave quickly when she saw that the people inside were from other forces. Yun Chujio had achieved her goal, so she didn't delay. She hopped and chatted with the enthusiastic crowd while walking out of the city. Mo Fangqin had been listening to Yun Chujio's small talk in the beginning, but when she heard that they were talking about which restaurant had good food, which family had made a fortune, or even whose mistress had stolen someone, it was all boring gossip, she really could not bear to listen to it anymore, so she simply walked in front and did not want to hear it. When the crowd compared them, they felt that the eldest daughter of the Mo family was approachable and did not put on airs. She was really a kind and good girl. Yun Chujio was talking nonsense with these onlookers. Of course, she was not talking nonsense. She had obtained a lot of useful information from these conversations and was very satisfied. TSK, this old white lotus was really a good ant of immortal essence. This trial was really killing many birds with one stone. Firstly, she could learn more about the matters of the immortal essence continent and the Mo family. Secondly, she could increase her favorability in front of these onlookers. Sometimes, public opinion was very useful. Thirdly, they could increase their actual combat experience. They might even have a chance to break through. Moreover, with so many people protecting them, they would definitely not be in danger. This was simply a good opportunity that they could not find even if they tried to beat a lantern. Yun Chujio was happy, but Manager Xia's heart refused. This was because originally, there should only be 20 or so people from the Mo family following them. But now, there was a group of people following them. This wasn't a trial, this was simply a group fight. It was simply impossible to achieve the goal of teaching the country bumpkin a lesson. If the mission was too difficult, those who were watching the show would definitely make a ruckus. Not to mention that she had seriously injured the country bumpkin. Without the country bumpkin saying anything, those who were watching the show would drown her with spittle. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Two hours later, they arrived at the dense forest outside Jinchuan City. Yun Chujio looked around. The scale of this dense forest was not small. There must be many demon beasts living in it. However, with so many people here, it should be safe. After everyone entered the dense forest, perhaps because there were too many people, the demon beasts all fled upon hearing the news. Therefore, they did not encounter a high-level demon beast for a long time. Manager Xia immediately had an idea. Everyone, although you all have good intentions, there are too many people, so the demonic beasts don't dare to come over. Do you guys want to see if you can stay a little further away? Manager Xia thought that with her words, these people would definitely take the initiative to leave. At that time, she would be able to carry out her plan. However, what she did not expect even in her dreams was. Someone said, "Isn't it just a demonic beast? That's easy to handle. US brothers will drive a few demonic beasts over. We will surround the demonic beasts in the middle. This way, Miss Mo's life will definitely not be in danger." Manager Xia was so angry that she almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Are these people all brainless? Is this country bumpkin your ancestor? Why are you all thinking of her so much? Ah. For what? Manager Xia had obviously underestimated the determination of some people who were finally able to become heroes who helped the weak. At this moment, these people's hearts were filled with the desire to uphold justice. Moreover, they didn't mind the fuss. Emma, a heroine who dared to blow up her own house, couldn't die just like that. If she died, they would have a lot less fun in the future. Therefore, a group of people drove out a level 27 golden-horned wind-blade leopard from the depths of the forest. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard was trapped in the middle of the crowd and kept roaring. "Miss Mo, we haven't found a demon beast weaker than this for a while. You can use this to practice your skills. Don't worry, with us here, you won't be in danger," the onlookers said enthusiastically. Manager Xia heaved a sigh of relief when she saw that they had found a 27th level demonic beast. This 27th level demonic beast was equivalent to a human cultivator at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm. This country bumpkin was only at the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm, so he definitely couldn't beat this golden-horned wind-blade leopard. Although he wouldn't be injured, he would definitely lose face. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard was quite intelligent, so it naturally understood everyone's words. It hated Yun Chuzhou to death in its heart. It turned out that it had been driven here to practice its skills on this stinky girl. It was really detestable. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard stomped its hind legs on the ground and roared at Yun Chuzhou. "Kitten, what are you screaming for? You should feel honored. There are so many demonic beasts in the dense forest, but only you were chosen. Your luck is simply too good," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. "Kitten." Everyone's faces were filled with confusion. Could it be that this Miss Mo couldn't even distinguish between a cat and a leopard? Could it be that all cats in the Tianyuan continent had grown so big? The golden-horned wind-blade leopard was even more enraged. "This damned brat, you are the cat, your entire family is a cat. Good luck. It was simply a stroke of bad luck to have met you in 8 lifetimes." The golden-horned wind-blade leopard angrily pounced towards Yun Chuzhou. When everyone saw that Yun Chuzhou did not move, their hearts could not help but raise. Could it be that this Miss Mo was scared silly? Just as some people were about to help, they saw Yun Chuzhou suddenly leap to the side to dodge the attack of the gold-horned wind-blade leopard. Then, she shot out several purple lightning bolts towards the gold-horned wind-blade leopard. The spectators could not help but exclaim in surprise. This Miss Mo actually had a heavenly thunder spirit root. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.